In Alaska's deep winter, nights don't end. They just swallow the days whole. We were soldiers on a lonely post, cut off by ice and silence, when the radio started whispering my name back at me. Then we saw the tracks, massive, human-like but too big, starting inside our fence with no way in. At night, something walked slow across the roof, 7 steps, stopping above my bunk. And out there in the trees, we caught glimpses of it, huge, upright, watching. Some call it a legend. We just called it the thing that never left. So before we continue, please make sure to like and subscribe to support the channel and comment down below where you're watching from. Thanks. I am telling you this the way we tell it in the smoke and dark. No polish. No lesson at the end. Just what happened. I was a sergeant then. Winter in Alaska. Cold that eats the bones. If you laugh at any of it, that is fine. Folks laugh when they are scared or when they were not there. Me, I still hear the knock some nights. I still wait before I open any door. I will use the names we had. Ellis, Pike, Morales, Doc, a butter bar from the battalion who was too fresh to know better, a top back at the main base who meant well, and the rest of us, tired, hungry, cold, trying to pretend the days were normal and that we were the meanest thing out there. They were not normal. We were not the meanest thing out there. We were at a radar post shoved in the white nowhere. A station squatting on a hump of rock and ice with a few low buildings, a squat dome, and a fence that the wind mocked. Trucks parked in a line half buried in drift. A shore tower with 3 antennas that whined in the gusts. The generator coughed and rattled all day and all night. The sky gave no help. In that season, the dark does not end so much as it thins. Noon looks like evening. Evening looks like midnight. The wind is a blade. Our routine was simple because the land was not. Check the fence, check the fuel, check the radios, log the weather and the blips. Drink bad coffee, talk trash. Wait, do it again. I kept the boat neat and straight. It was something I could control. The rest was just noise and cold. Ellis ran lean and wired. He made jokes that died in the air and fell at his feet. Morales walked big and steady, slow until he moved fast, always chewing on something frozen like jerky that could crack a tooth. Pike had that farm kid calm. He could stand in a whiteout with frost in his beard and look like he was waiting for Sunday. Doc swore in 2 languages and kept a sock full of spice packets to dump in anything we ate. He said it kept your soul from freezing. We let him have it. The radio was my problem. It hissed and popped. It was never clean. Most of that was weather. The rest was distance. The rest was what I tell you now. First night of the week, the wind eased for a breath and all that hiss turned thin, and I heard breathing in my headset. Not mine. I pulled the cup off one ear and listened to the room and heard nothing but the generator and Pike humming off key. Put the cup back on. The breath was on the air, slow, long, like a sleeper not asleep. Say again, I asked. Identify. Wind rose. The breath stayed. Some prank, Ellis said. Top screwing with us. Top lost his sense of humor with his hair, Doc said. I logged the time. I logged the noise. I drew a little dot because the page felt empty without it. I went outside to count the shadows of the antennas against the dome, a stupid habit from another place where a missing shadow meant someone had taken one down to fix it. 3 shadows. Always 3. Tonight I counted 3. Then I saw a 4th that did not move. A broad one. Thick neck. Squat head. It could be a trick of moon and cloud. It could be a dream your eyes have when your brain is tired. I keyed the mic and said, perimeter check, south fence. Pike with me. The breath stopped. Then a voice said, Sarge. It said it quiet, like it did not know how to say anything else, like it wanted to practice. It was my voice, same rasp, same lazy drawl on the last letter. I froze with my thumb on the talk switch, felt the plastic edge dig into my glove. Cute, Ellis said from the corner. Do my voice next. I keyed again. Identify now. Wind shut down for a heartbeat. The way it does when an animal hears a bigger animal and every leaf listens. The cold got heavy. It sat on my shoulders like a ruck. I took Pike and we did the loop. Crunch of crusted snow. That squeak you hear when it is knife cold. Night vision flickered like a dying star and then steadied. I panned, saw the line of black spruce like skinny men praying. Something stood upright between them. Tall. Too wide for a man. Slow sway like a bear does when it is thinking about you. I swung the beam. The light hit trunks. A long white yard of flakes hung in the air and then fell. The space where it stood was empty. We got back inside. The coffee had skinned over. Ellis had dozed. Morales stared at the dark glass of the window and did not talk. I wrote a line in the book that looks stupid now. External noise continues. Then I pressed the push to talk without thinking. The breath rushed my ear. Then that same not me voice, tight and wrong, said, "Sarge," in my own voice. Dawn came thin and mean. The gray kind. No color, just a smudge where the sun might be. The wind took a break. We went out because that is what you do. The fence had a sag where drift had piled and then thawed and then froze again. The wire sang. Morales cursed in a sweet, soft tone like a lullaby and shoveled the drift down. "Moose," Pike said, and I already knew he did not buy his own guess. The track started in the middle of the yard. Big, deep, deep, spread far, like a man striding. No point of approach, no path to them, just there. They walked away toward the tree line. Then they stopped where the trees began. No turn, no exit, no backward steps. Like something walked out of the air, crossed our space, and stepped into the trees without leaving the step. Ellis spat and missed his boot by inches. "I hate that," he said. "Which part?" "The wizard part. Things that start without a start." We followed because pride is a kind of heat. We dragged the compound gate open and slipped into the trees. The cold shut the gate behind us with a soft metal noise you feel in your teeth. The spruce were close and wet with ice. The kind of place where everything smells like old pennies and cold bark. The snow squeaked wrong. Not loud. Thin. Like it was just pretending. "Keep your line," I said. "Keep eyes." "Eyes kept," Morales said. We pushed in a little. Not far. The tracks told us nothing. They were big and clean until they were not there at all. I took out a compass because sometimes a thing as dumb as a compass will tell you a truth. The needle spun lazy and then fast and then stopped on a mark that was not north. I tapped it. It rolled and then wobbled and then pointed behind me. "Magstorm," Pike said. "Sure," I said. "Blame the sky." We circled a rotten spruce with half its skin gone and a fungus shelf like a broken ear. When we circled again, Morales stopped and put a hand on the dead bark. "We already passed this bastard," he said. "You sure?" Ellis asked. Morales snapped off a chunk of fungus and dropped it. We went another dozen steps, and there it was again. Same dead tree, same broke ear, same chunk on the snow like a fresh cut. The hair on my neck stood up like needles. We spread a little too thin because men do dumb things when they want to act brave. Ellis went 10 feet off my right. Close enough to touch with the muzzle if I reached, but not in line. We got him a little deeper and the gray light sank like it was tired of trying. Radio popped. "Sarge, where the hell are you?" That was Ellis on the net. Tight voice. A lot of wind across his mic like he was moving. I looked to my right. Ellis was 10 feet off my shoulder, his mouth shut, his head cocked toward the sound. I keyed my mic. "Cut it out." Ellis keyed his and swore. I did not key. The radio hiss climbed like heavy breath was filling the channel. It did it slow, eating the open space inside our headsets. "Give me a fix on that," I said. And that was stupid because we were not in a place where a fix meant anything. The compass spun again, like it was dizzy. The brush shifted. No wind. No reason. I saw a space between branches that was not quite empty. The kind of shape that makes you think of a face in a crowd. Off. Not eyes. Not a mouth. Just a suggestion of both. I blinked. The space was gone. Only trees. Only ice. We all froze when the net cracked. Two voices. At once. The same word from two places. "Sarge." One was Ellis, 10 feet to my right. One was Ellis again, far and ahead where no one stood. We kept it cool because we did not know how to panic in a way that helped. Back inside, we called it in to top, keeping it neat. You cannot say ghost tracks over the air without someone writing it down and calling you in for a talk. So we said, "Unknown prints inside wire, possible prank, possible wildlife." And Top said, "Keep your heads, log what you can, do not go cowboy." He said my name and said, "You have a butter bar coming up on the bird day after tomorrow to take a look at your logs, so act like you care." Copy, I said. We will polish the turd. Night again. The cold snapped hard. We posted 2 outside and 2 on the inside loop. I took the roof with Pike because if that thing liked the roof, I wanted to shake its hand. The stars were like nails pinning the sky down. I put a thermal scope to my eye and let my face freeze to the rubber. Heat lives on bodies different out there. A mouse looks like a lit cigarette. A man is a barrel with arms. A moose is a moving barn with legs. I skimmed the tree line and saw the deer that are not deer, the fox that looks like a trick, and then something too tall. Upright, big shoulders, barrel chest. The head was wrong. No ears I could see. Just a flat crown under a heavy ridge. It moved like a wrestler who knows his weight. Slow, sure, like gravity works different for him. It stopped. It turned. It had to know I was on glass. No reason for it to turn, and yet it did. The red smear of it looked like it smiled, though nothing on the scope said teeth. That is my brain doing me wrong, I know. Still felt like a smile. It raised an arm and we both flinched. The log came from the dark, not a branch. A log. It hit a spruce halfway down the trunk and stuck for a second, then fell and burst the snow into dust. My teeth hurt with the sound. Pike swore all the farm words at once. Contact, I told the net. Tall heat, biped, at the trees, west fence. Do not fire unless fired on. I said the training line calm, so I did not say shoot the myth. We dropped off the roof fast enough to make the ladder sing. We hit the yard and spread. Morales took a flank and Ellis went low. We reached the fence and saw the wire had a tuft of dark hair on a barb, stuck like a thread. Not deer hair, not moose. Coarse, long, greasy with some stink that made my nose feel punched. Iron, wet fur, something like a locked basement. I put it in a bag and sealed it. Like I was a cop who could make that matter. Like anyone was going to look at it and not lose it on purpose. We swept the lime and saw nothing else that held. Back inside, the lights went down the way a breath goes down when a man hears a strange step on the stairs. Down. 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 The glass on the window filmed with frost and a skin so fast you could watch it grow. In the flash of the lights coming back, I swear I saw a shape on the other side of the glass. Tall, shoulders too wide for a man. Hair laid down in wet spikes. Frost made of the silhouette. And it was close, closer than a normal thing would come to a lit window full of men. Do not, I said, do not open that door. Something tapped the window. Not a peck, not a knock like a guy who wants a cigarette. 3 slow taps, even space between. Like a code that does not care if you understand. We shoved a bar across the door anyway because fear makes you remember procedures even if they will not help. Morales put his shoulder to the wood like he could stop a truck. Doc stood there with a wrench like it was a rifle. We all stared at the latch. The latch lifted. Not fast. Like a hand on the other side was testing what gravity would do. The bar groaned. Wood complained. My tongue stuck to the roof of my mouth while we watched that little bit of metal rise a little. Then a little more. The generator surged high, coughed, and settled into a new rhythm like it was nervous. The radio started throwing little blips in the timestamps. A second ahead, 2. Then a second behind. You would call in a check at one time and it would stamp it as another. We rebooted the gear and the trust never came back. Once you see time slide, you never forgive the clock. Pike said he heard words in the static. We all rolled our eyes and called him bored. Then he turned pale as frost and said, it said cold man, not scared of cold, not the cold. It said cold man, like that was a thing you could be. We had rations torn open where we left them sealed. Lids put back on wrong, pressed until they dented. A jar set down where none of us would set it because it would be in the way. A fork stuck straight vertical in a block of ice by the step. No tracks near it that made sense. We put out 2 cheap motion cams that blinked red like they were doing their job. We checked the footage and saw black frames where something blocked the lens. Then the red blink kept going like the thing had a shadow that forgot to move. That night, the roof took steps. Not little animals. Not ice falling from the eave. 7 of them. Slow, deliberate, heavier than a man. Start on the west edge, cross the center, stop over my bunk. I lay there holding my breath like a child. Then I breathed anyway, and the air tore my throat raw, and I saw the smoke of it in the dark because the heater died with the last step. The room got cold in a rude rush. It sucked the heat out of the walls. My eyelashes stuck when I blinked. Morning frost did a trick on the glass. A long finger drag, like someone with a hand longer than sense had traced down the pane from the top. The line wavered and then stopped above the paper we had taped by the window. Duty roster, my name first. The drag mark stopped right on the S in my name like it cared about letters. I stared at it too long, leaning in, watching my breath fog and clear. I should have gone to get the others. I did not move because moving felt rude. Because some part of me hoped it would keep going and spell a word I could live with. I caught a reflection. My face small in the frost, and behind my face something that took up most of the window. Leaning in, I spun quick enough to make my neck pop. Nothing there. Just the quiet. Just my heart punching my ribs like it wanted out. Behind me, the frost still wore the long finger mark. It sat there above my name like a promise. Command called. Calm voice. Even words. A sensor had fallen or had been knocked down in a ravine east of our site. Go get it. Bring it back. Do your job. It felt like a dare from someone warm inside a large building who had never had to chew air before speaking. We kitted up. We took ropes and lamps and a little plastic sled for the gear. We moved out in a line that felt wrong. The world was quiet, not peace. The quiet when a fight is coming and both sides are thinking about their hands. The trees drew back and let us walk into a cut in the earth shaped like a throat. Ice on both walls, long curtains of frozen water like bad teeth. The wind did not follow us in. We slid down the slope and the sound from our boots did not behave. Echo came from the side, or above, or before. I spoke just to hear my voice lie to me. We found what was left of the sensor. The casing had been peeled like fruit. Wiring hung like guts. Something had scraped long grooves through the mud under the ice, as if it did not like the taste of the metal and wanted the rest. Lodged in a bent corner was a shard, white, not quite bone, not quite tooth, heavy in the hand for its size. I do not know why I did it. I put it in my pocket like a boy steals a relic from a church. Warm for a second, even though my glove was numb. Leave that, Doc said from the other side of his scarf. Later, I said. We will tag it back at the shack. He saw my eyes and let it go. The air down there was wrong. Stale. Like a basement that had been closed a long time. Like a bear den. Only I have been in bear dens, and they do not make you feel like you are under a throat that could swallow. The ceiling scraped the back of my brain. I kept feeling like I had to duck, though. It was high over my head. My lamp swung. Shadows went up and did not come down the way they should, dragged by the ice like it was sticky. I heard breath behind me. Not talking. Just that long pull and push a big animal does when it decides how much of you it wants. I swung my lamp back and it caught a figure bent under the ice. Arms too long, palms up, fingers splayed against the ceiling like it liked the texture, hair clumped with frost. A head that did not move the way a head moves. The light scraped across it and it was there. The light jumped to the left and came back and there was nothing but ice and a white film of frost falling slow like ash. Saw that, Ellis said, voice very small. Copy, I said, and my own voice sounded like a stranger in my throat. We turned to go and the sky answered. A slide of snow came off the lip of the ravine and choked the entrance with a soft, heavy sigh. Not a roar, just a gift of more time below. We stood there with our lamps making small dumb circles, listening to the drip we could not hear a minute ago, and to a new sound at the blocked mouth. A shadow passed across the thin light like someone long walked by above the snow. Then another. Like there were two now. The air in the tunnel changed flavor. Warm to hair. My pocket with the shard felt heavier. I could feel the press of it like a coin inside my hip. Another breath joined ours. Not from behind anymore, from near the snow plug at the mouth. Close, patient. We dug with our little hands like dogs. The snow gave us a thin slit, like an eye. We made it wider with the shovel heads, no leverage, just stubbornness. We dragged ourselves out into a forest that had decided to try silence as a hobby. No birds, no crack of twig. Snow fell off a branch somewhere, and that single soft sound made me want to go home. It came down on us with rocks, not big at first, pebbles, then stones, not falling, thrown, arcs from the dark. They hit the trees around us and knocked white powder down our collars. It was not random. It pushed us, left, not right, forward, not back. I tried to break the push, and the stones came harder from the angle I wanted. We are animals. We walked where the herd goes. "Knock it off," Ellis shouted, because sometimes you talk to the weather and sometimes you think the weather will listen. A stone hit the tree next to his head and stuck in bark like a thrown knife. He stared at it like it had something to say. The radio started doing that echo again. Our own talk from a moment before back in our ears, our names repeated. Our breath. The words we were about to say laid down first in the cans, then spoken in the cold, then echoed again. It felt like wading into a recording of your own death. Alice kept looking everywhere like a rabbit who sees all the hawks at once. He was a good soldier. He did not bolt. He did not wander. He kept his place. Then the trees moved wrong. They do that when something very big goes where it pleases. A blur came long and fast. A pale arm like a peeled trunk. A hand on a head. A muffled noise from a man who did not want to make a noise. Then Alice was gone. We charged stupid because love does not wait for a plan. Dry snow exploded under our boots. We screamed his name and heard it come back from two sides, which does not help the math. Sarge, do not, from our right. Sarge, do not, from our left. Both the same, both his voice. We found a glove stuck in a tree, not dangling from a branch like a kid would hang it. Embedded, like it had been pushed into the bark by something with a grip and a wish. 15 feet up. Still warm inside when I reached up with a stick and knocked it down. Steam rose from the inside like a breath. "Ellis," Morales said, kneeling, holding the glove in two hands like a bowl that might spill. I looked up and saw a shape high in the branches, long and lean and too comfortable that high. I blinked and it was a drift of snow letting go. I called his name anyway because you do. The wind answered like a laugh from a throat with no lips. The glove sat there in Morales' hands, warm when it should have been a rock. None of us wanted to say how high it had been. The storm did a trick I did not know storms could do. It pushed us into a bowl where the wind died. Nothing moved. Snow fell straight down like you drop flour into a clear jar. No spin. No gust. We stood at the edge of that bowl and listened to the world call from the rim, and then we went in because the GPS ping from Alice's rescue beacon told us to. The blink on the receiver went steady. Under us, not above. We found a hole in the drift where nothing should be and dropped into another mouth in the earth. It was a room. The biggest cave I have ever seen that is not pretend. Ice grew over ice, long ribs of it. The lamps made the walls glow like something alive. Between those ribs hung lines, rope, tendon, old bootlaces, bits of cable and wire. Dangling from the lines were bones small and bones big. Bird, caribou. A jaw that might have been wolf if wolves had molars like that. Dog tags, old ones, rusted, some letters left. A strip of cloth that used to be a sleeve with a patch like a memory. A cat badge green with time. The wind above found the mouth of the cave and sent its voice down. It did not whistle, it moaned. The whole ice room answered like a throat. My lamp flickered. Always at the moment you need it most. I smacked the casing with my palm and the light steadied. It landed on the thing. He was there. I use he because it helps my head. He was tall as the room would allow. Hair frozen into long spikes where water had run into it and turned hard. The hair was not clean. It looked like weather and age lived in it. The chest was a plate with breathing under it. The arms were longer than you want arms to be. The hands were too ready. Palms big, fingers black at the ends, and it took me a sliver of a second to realize I was seeing skin leathered and cracked, not gloves. The face had a heavy brow and under it two eyes that did not blink because blinking wastes time. The nose was low and flat. The mouth was not a monkey mouth. It was a deep slice with lips pulled back like it was waiting to name me. He did not lunge. He watched us the way a human watches a camera. Calm, curious. Not scared, not proud. Just there. The storm moaned again and the sound came down around us like someone blowing over a bottle. Pike lifted his rifle without thinking, then lowered it because the rules you learn in crowds hold on even in caves. We did not fire. It had not struck. It had taken Ellis, but in that chamber, with bones and tags, the moral math knocked like a broken engine. You do not shoot the priest in his church unless you are ready for every door to shut on you. He turned his head toward me. Not like a dog, like a person who heard their name from a room full of noise. He looked at me the way my father looked when he knew I was lying about being fine. He knew me. That was the feeling. I hated it. The beacon blinked under a crust of snow at the base of the far wall. I saw it and my legs did what legs do. I lunged. My hand pushed into the powder and found cold plastic. Something closed on my sleeve, not hard enough to break bone, hard enough to stop me. Its hand was warm through my jacket. Not hot, warm like a living thing. That detail has never left me. The hand held me there, gentle as a mother grips a child who wants to run into a road. Above us, the ceiling groaned. A long crack spread. It sounded like old glass dying. I do not know how long after. Could be minutes, could be hours. When we stumbled out of that bowl and into the wind, it took our sense back like a thief. We half ran, half fell to the compound. No Ellis with us, no blood trail, no body. His beacon went dead somewhere behind us. The world wanted us to leave that new church, and we obeyed. Then the sky filled with rotors. Birds thumped in from the main base. Men in clean parkas spilled out and took our story the way a parent takes a dead bird from the hands of a child and puts it in a shoebox and says they will handle it. They handled it by taking everything. The hair from the wire, the bag with the tuft, the shard from my pocket, which had gone cold now and felt like ordinary trash. They took the cams. They took the logs and scanned them and brought them back, wiped of the parts that would make a man believe. The timestamps had turned to zeros. The photos were static or black or showed me asleep with my eyes open. They called it corrupted data, and I wanted to corrupt their teeth. A tech, a quiet woman with a mole on her cheek and patience in her voice, slipped me a still frame when no one looked. It was a shot from the inside camera, door closed. Window frosted. The shape in the room, tall and bent, back to us like it had just stepped in. I was in my bunk in that frame, eyes shut, mouth open like I was saying a word. The butter bar came and went on the bird and shook my hand like he was proud of me for keeping it together. He told me in the kind of clean voice they teach in those schools that the mountains hold tricks and that wind does things with sound. He said it kindly. I did not punch him. That is growth. We did not get Ellis back. We shipped out with one less guy than we came with. His locker went to a corner nobody used. His glove, the one we found, went in a bag that went in a drawer that I locked because there was nothing else for a man to do. Weeks later, at home where the air does not try to kill you, I lay in bed and listened to the quiet of a house that hums with wires and warm duct. The roof took steps. Not a raccoon, not a storm. 7 of them. Slow, deliberate. Cross the length and stop above my pillow. My wife slept through it because life knows how to be kind sometimes. I stared at the white of the ceiling and did not move. The heater shut off for no reason, and in the space after it, I heard my own breath as a stranger. I dug out an old tape from the post because I am an idiot. I played it. I heard me telling Pike to go left before I remembered telling him. I heard my own cuss from a minute ahead. Then I got a file on my phone from a number I did not know. A video, no text. I opened it because I am still that kind of dumb and brave. It was inside our shack. The angle was wrong, like the camera was placed too low, like a child had said it. I heard Ellis whisper, just one line, do not turn around, not shouted, not desperate, just a piece of advice from someone who has seen the thing behind the thing. Then the camera turned anyway. That made my heart climb my rib cage because I did not want to see what it wanted to show me. It should have been a blur. It was not. The lens handled the light fine until it tried to hold what was in front of it. The shape was there, and it was closer than the glass could stand. It filled the field. The pale skin under the hair, the black ends of long fingers, the wet frost in the beard of it. Eyes like pale stones. The picture crawled and fought and went gray and back, and the audio did not care. The audio kept rolling clear. The audio was just breathing. Long, patient. I put the phone face down on the table and did not move from my chair a long time. The window in my kitchen has a view of a yard and a fence and a stand of trees that do not belong to me. The white there was clean and flat. I stared at it until the door knocked. 3 taps, even space. Then 4 taps like a joke, then 3 again. I got up, I went to the door. I put my hand on the knob and took it off and put it back and took it off because I could not bring myself to do the one thing any man can do. It breathed on the other side. Just that. Not a growl. Not a whisper in my voice, though later there would be that too. Just the breath. Long, patient. Waiting like it had all the time in the world, and I had a door. I am older now. My wife does not know this part because there is no use for it in a life where you have to go to work and make lunch and pay the bill for the heater. Sometimes I wake right before the 7 steps. Then I count them true anyway. Sometimes the radio in my truck crackles and I hear a word I'm about to say. Sometimes I hold the glove in the drawer and it is warm though the house is cold. I still do not open a door on the first knock. Not in the dark. Not when the heat in a room feels like it is not mine. I stand and I listen and I wait for the breath to stop. I wait for patience to leave the other side because that is when men like me have a chance. The knock comes now as I tell you this, soft as snow, even, like code. I do not move. I keep talking because talking is something I can make in this world that will not be taken back by some clean voice in a warm building. I keep my hand off the latch. The breath on the other side knows my name, and sometimes it uses my voice to say it, and I do not answer. So that's the end of our video. If you made it this far, make sure to hit like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and it's free. And if you want more terrifying encounters like this one, check out the other videos on screen right now. Thanks for watching and stay safe out there. See you soon.